Hello, my dear fellow scholars. Are you ready for some fun facts about nature? Well, today we're going to talk about 5 fun facts about nature that will blow your mind. So let's get started. For our first fact, we travel to East Asia where we meet our first bamboo. Now, these amazing plants are among the fastest growing plants on Earth. But how fast? Well, under optimal conditions, they can grow up to 3 feet in a single day. That's around 1 meter. To put this into perspective, this is about as tall as a toddler. How is this even possible? Well, part of the secret is that unlike trees which have a single woody stem, bamboos have multiple stems that grow in parallel and take turns leading the growth so that it doesn't stop when one of them dies off. Wow. For our next fact, we stay in Asia where we find these beautiful cherry blossoms. But hold on a second. Plants don't talk. They can't possibly communicate with each other. Right? Well, it turns out that some plants can indeed talk to each other, but not with words, of course, but with chemical signals. See, these flowers release special chemicals into the air to attract pollinators like bees. And if another plant nearby releases the same chemical, the flowers will stop producing it because there's no need to attract the same pollinators twice. This way they save energy, which they need for other functions. Incredible. And it seems that some of these plants can also warn each other of danger. For instance, if a caterpillar starts munching on a leaf, the plant releases a chemical signal to its neighbors and they start producing an unappealing taste chemical to deter the hungry caterpillar from eating their leaves too. Remarkable. However, these are not the only gossiping plants. It has been suggested that even corn plants can warn each other about potential dangers. For instance, if a neighboring corn plant is attacked by an insect, its leaves start releasing a special chemical. And if the leaves of another healthy corn plant come into contact with these airborne chemicals, they increase their production of defensive chemicals. Wow. Communication in nature is truly amazing. If you wish to learn more about how animals talk to each other, you might enjoy our video about the secret language of cats. For our next fact, we go all over the world because lightning strikes Earth about 8 million times per day. What? That's right. In other words, lightning occurs roughly every 3 seconds somewhere on the globe. It is estimated that there are about 40,000 thunderstorms happening on Earth at any given time. Now, this makes sense as most of our planet is covered by water, and the atmosphere contains plenty of moisture. Furthermore, during thunderstorms, the electric fields between clouds and the ground can be as high as 100 million volts per meter. That's roughly 100,000 times the voltage required to power a household appliance. And in such conditions, well, something's got to crack. As you can see, Mother Nature knows no mercy. For our next fact, we fly above the Amazon rainforest, the world's biggest tropical rainforest covering roughly 2 million square miles, or 5.5 million square kilometers. That's about the size of India, or the continental US, and it is located in South America. Now it is home to roughly half of all known animal and plant species on Earth, and is often dubbed the lungs of our planet as it produces roughly 20% of the world's oxygen. Amazing. This is partly due to the sheer number of trees present in the rainforest. Just think about it. There are roughly 400 billion individual trees in the Amazon, and roughly 500,000 different tree species. This means that the number of trees in the Amazon is roughly 3 times larger than the number of people on Earth. Truly remarkable. But this forest is currently in danger. For instance, the rate of deforestation in the Brazilian Amazon rainforest has increased drastically since the beginning of the 21st century. These developments are rather worrying as the Amazonian rainforest is home to many indigenous people who are losing their homes and livelihoods. In addition, scientists say that if the temperature increases by more than 2 degrees Celsius, the Amazonian rainforest could die, which would be a real tragedy. For our next fact, we'll stay in South America and visit these beautiful Iguazu Falls. They are a system of waterfalls at the Iguazu River on the border of Brazil and Argentina. Now, they are truly spectacular and quite unique. Did you know that if you visit them at night, you might see something magical? Rainbows at night, also known as moonbows. These are secondary rainbows which appear when there is moonlight. They are much fainter than rainbows that appear during the day, as sunlight is much more intense than moonlight, and that's why you can only spot them at night. We love a good rainbow. And for more fun facts about them, check out our video about the physics of rainbows. For our final fact, we travel to all over the universe because it's time for some space. Did you know that our solar system is just a tiny part of the Milky Way galaxy, and that there might be as many as 100 billion galaxies in the observable universe? This means that our observable universe contains roughly 10 to the 10th power, 22 stars. Now this is hard to wrap our minds around. Let me put it into perspective. The population of the Earth is roughly 8 billion. So the number of stars in the observable universe is roughly 10 to the 12th power, 22 larger than the number of people on Earth. That's really something. And while astronomers used to believe that stars were just twinkling lights in the sky, they are actually huge balls of hot glowing gas. Our own star, the Sun, is about 865,000 miles or 1.4 million kilometers in diameter. That's large enough to fit 1.3 million Earths inside of it. And the largest star ever discovered is almost 2 billion miles or 3 billion kilometers in diameter. That's large enough to fit 135,000 Earths inside of it. Truly remarkable. If you've made it this far, you truly are a dedicated fellow scholar. You have my utmost respect. Thank you for watching and for coming on this journey through nature with us. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to FactPop and click the bell icon to never miss out on our latest videos. Also, you might enjoy our video about 5 fun science facts that you won't learn anywhere else. And with that, I'll see you next time.